What's up, YouTube? Welcome out to Take a Hike with Jim. Of course, that makes me your boy, Jim. Give me a minute as we get everything set up as usual. It takes me just a few moments to get everything going. Chat is going to be open tonight. So welcome out to Tuesday Night Live, where we talk about the questions that we asked and you take a vote. And you voted on the 4 options we had for this week. And you have chosen to talk about the budget and why is the Appalachian Trail so expensive and how does it affect our budget. So we're going to talk about those things. We're going to give it a few minutes for people to come on board. Before we get going here, we're going to get our cup of tea going. We haven't been drinking as much coffee. We still have a little bit of coffee in the mornings, but we've been drinking more tea. We're really liking this ginger lemon tea that we have, so it's fan-freaking-tastic. So anyway, welcome out to the show. Tonight is Tuesday Night Live, and once again, we asked the questions you voted, you selected this week. The last I had checked, you selected, why is the Appalachian Trail so expensive, and how's it going to impact and affect our budget moving forward, something like that matter. So we are going to be talking budget and numbers. But before we get to any of that, if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification, give us a like and a thumbs up. Let us know you're out there. And like the page and its content. The infamous book is back, right? Round 3. Fight! Right? The book is back. This has been our budget book. This has been our analyst book for everything related to the Appalachian Trail. We're going to do some reviewing here. And then we're going to do some new things and stuff too as well. And we are open for chat and discussion and different things. We got our pens so we can take down notes that you guys may or may not put over in the chat section. So I hope everybody is safe and enjoying this cold Tuesday night. Let's dig right in. So, the Appalachian Trail, we're going to get to the top 3 things that I think that are the reasons why it is so expensive to walk on Appalachian Trail and do a through hike. And then we're going to talk about my top 3 rebuttals about how we get around that somewhat. We're going to go from there. But we want to talk budget first and foremost. We've put a lot of time, a lot of energy, and a lot of effort into analyzing the budget to the point of we started out with 2024/25 because we hadn't had the 25's numbers had not came in as of yet, right? So as of 2024, let's back it up. As of 2024, it was costing about $35 a day to hike the Appalachian Trail on a through hike. And this was in 2024, which roundabout came out to a little bit over about $1,000 a month. And it was about $1.50 to $2.25 a mile. I want you to keep those numbers and some of these other numbers that I'm getting ready to go over with the most important. The largest expense while on trail was in 2024 food, right? And the food overall estimated was $2,000 to $3,000 in a 6-month time span, okay? Everything was based on a 6-month time span. This is our old budget we done. I don't know if you remember this, say about a month or two, about 2 months back, I guess, is when we originally went over this original material and different things like that, right? So, we wanted to fast forward to the 2026, right? The 2026 through hike budget, and this is based on the numbers from the 2025 through hikers, from the data that we have now that is starting to come in. Now, we don't have all the data, we have some of the data. We both based this off of Google, the Trek, and a few other sources to come up with the numbers. And a lot of this is estimated, but if you look at it and you Google it and you do your own research, you're going to find out that it is really, really close to what everybody is saying, right? I mean, within a little bit, okay? So back in 2024, it was $35 a day. 2025, it's estimated on the low end that it was $40 a day to walk the thru hike, to walk the Appalachian Trail. $40 a day. Now, these numbers that we're putting out, these are excluding your already purchased gear. Okay? We're going to get into what our gear cost and all that stuff was, and where we're at with that as well. So on the low end, we were looking at $40 a day in 2025. Headed into 2026, they're looking at more, anywhere from $40 to $50 a day from the low end to the high end of walking on the Appalachian Trail. So in saying that, that's quite expensive. And as I was doing my research, and as I was doing things and preparing for this question and preparing for the answer tonight, I stopped and I had to pause just a minute, because it seems like to me that hiking, especially thru hiking, is becoming a rich person's sport, right? A rich person's commodity, when it should be for everything. Now, there was an interesting statistic that was out there, and I haven't done enough research to find out who they were or if it was even true. But apparently in 2025, there was at least 13 thru hikers that done the entire trail on $1,000 or less budget. So in saying that, I would be interested to see, on $1,000 or less budget, what their gear was, what their food list was, different things like that. Did they have donations coming in? Did people give them money? Or paid for things in advance? How was that accomplished? But apparently there was 13 people that did it. But anyway, in saying that, hiking and thru hiking is very quickly becoming unreachable for a lot of people due to the finances. I mean, we got people that already, food, shuttle costs, tips, hostels, gear replacements. We're going to touch on every single one of those, Jason. And some of the things may surprise you. We have people that save up for years to do this thru hike, or attempt to do this thru hike, right? We have people that take things like they remortgage their homes. They'll take out a loan. They'll sell vehicles. They'll sell things, everything to get that one shot at the Appalachian Trail. And from where it was before COVID and to where it is now is a monumental world of difference. Pre-COVID, we was looking at $2.50 to $3 a mile, right? And now we was looking at pre-COVID, we was looking at under $2 to $1.50 a mile. You go eat cheap and don't care about taste. We're not having the ramen noodle debate, Jason. He's already trying to stir trouble. You've been talking to the lovely Lady L, haven't you? She's trying to stir up trouble with the ramen noodles again. Anyway, so in saying that, it's becoming a rich person's town's expensive, eating town, nice food, better woods for days. Hi, what's up, Sparky? Sparky made it! Yes! We got to give Sparky a hand. Brock, you're right, and we're going to touch base on it, but you guys I think some of y'all is going to be surprised at some of these numbers. But in saying that, it has become, like I was saying, more and more expensive to the point it's going to be unobtainable if something don't happen. The average person is no longer will be able to, in all reality, what up, AT? In all reality, to do a thru hike in the very near future if the price and the mileage of the thru hike keeps going. And so we're going to look at some of that tonight as well. Where'd my glasses go? They're on my head. I can't see nothing. The average is now went from, in 2024, talk about inflation. The average in 2024 coming in 2025 was $1.50 to $2.25 a mile to walk the Appalachian Trail. $1.50 to $2.25 a mile to walk the Appalachian Trail, right? And by the end of 2025, estimated coming into 2026, first for me, I'd be late to my funeral. Yep, we've talked about that. Coming into 2026, it's at a minimum at about $3.45 a mile on the low end. And some people are saying that this year it could reach as high as $5 a mile on trail. That is unreal, right? Like I said, the trail is becoming fastly something the average person is not going to be able to through hike. This is going to become a rich person's obstacle, right? Unless we save up, we sell some kidneys, we refinance the kids, whatever, and do what we got to do. Now, here's what's interesting. Jason brought up something. I'm going to talk about the first thing that Jason brought up, which was food, right? Which was food. So we want to talk about the food budget, right? The food budget back in 24 coming into 2025, right? The food budget was estimated in 6 months $2,000 to $3,000 total, right? $2,000 to $3,000. Yeah, so wow, more than twice the price. And then Brock says $10K in 2019. That was living like Greek gods back in 2019 on the Appalachian Trail. I'm just going to be honest, and he says it too. He said living it up. The budget in 24 was $2,000 to $3,000 based on a 6-month window. Coming into 2025 and coming into the 2026, at the end of 2025, coming into the 2026 Appalachian Trail through hike, it is estimated that on the low end, the food will be at least $2,700 and over $3,000 for the high end. So it has gone up almost $700 either way, on the low end or the high end. But the food budget still is averaging out to $10 to $20 a day. So it's still falling in that margin of error. It's a tipping point. So once that budget hits closer to $4,000, the $10 to $20 a day is going to flip to $25, $30, or even higher a day as far as food budget. For now, $10 to $20 a day is still something that can be done if done on a 6-month window. Something else Jason talked about. Jason mentioned up there, he said it. We'll get to it. Let's look at hostel stays. So the average person takes a Zero or a Nero and stays at a hostel at least once every 10 days. Okay, once every 10 days. So we can roughly say, other than February, that's like 3 a month. On the low end, that's $90 a month based on the lower charging hostels, and $120 on the higher charging hostels a month. Now, in saying that, the hostels have a lot to offer, right? They offer picking you up. They offer dropping you off. They offer, a lot of them often offer laundry services. A lot of 4K don't even really touch it. A lot of them offer laundry services. A lot of them offer shuttles to town for resupplies or have resupplies on point. The hostels are far worth their money. But my question is to the hostel owners, how are you making money at that? Because at what the hotels in those same areas are charging, and for less of the services, you guys are making like pennies on the dollar. And as a thru hiker and a thru hiker future, I appreciate that to the hostels. But at the same time, how are they making it? That's my question. Because, man, you have to take in a lot of hikers. And go, my Platinum AT hike ran around 12,000s, but worth the money. J3 hikes 444. So, hostels, about once. Now, when you have cold hits like now, so we got some people that started in January, Wolfie and some other people. Pappy, which I love watching. Wolfie, which I love watching. Marlowe Factor, the kid. Peace. Which I love watching, right? I keep looking at my TV screen versus over here. Which I love watching, right? These folks, I love watching. The Tie-Dye Goat, love watching. Okay, these people, man, I can get me a fancy new carbon road bike for that money. Yo, yep. In saying that, right? In saying that, these folks, because they're hitting the colder weather, that we're hitting this week, next week, maybe even into, thank you for the heart, maybe even into the second week of February, into the third week of February with the cold, they're having to stay in hostels more. So now, either you cut hostels off at the end of your budget and at the end of your trip, as the further north you go, or you have to come up with the extra money for that hostel stay, right? So that don't take into account the times that are having to stay in extra hostels. If you're just tuning in, you're brand new to the channel, make sure you hit that like, subscribe button, that little bell notification, give us a thumbs up. We're going over the budget for the Appalachian Trail Thru Hike for 2026 compared to 24, 25, and now heading into 26. So, that's, like I said, that's every 10 days, and on a 6-month stay, that's like, what, about 20 on average hostel stays. That's without cold inclement weather, stormy inclement weather, hot inclement weather, and just days that you don't feel like coming off. Maybe you got blisters, maybe you're tired, maybe you need a laundry day, maybe you stink to high heaven, maybe you just need to sit back and have a beer around a campfire. Who knows, right? All good reasons to come off trail. But in saying that, it's going to cost you. Now, here's the other thing. Jason mentioned it. He said shuttles, laundry services, stuff of that nature, right? Town visits went from an average, check this out, hostels stayed about the same. Town visits went from $75 to $100 a day. That in 2025, headed into 2026, they're estimating 100 to 150 a day in town. So work for stays can help us save money at the hostel. Whoop! Broccoli, yes, I saw a few. Sorry, I had to swat the cat. Saw a few go north and everything gets more expensive, right? This cat is driving me nuts. Anyway, so on the low end, that is going to be $300 on the month for a budget for hostels. On the high end, that's going to be $450 on the month for hostel stays. Gear is kind of up in the air because gear is one of those things that's uncontrollable. You might have to replace a mat. You might have to replace a tent. Metro on the Move had to replace a tent, right? I think the company actually ended up replacing the tent for him, but he had a bear attack and his tent got shredded. Shoes are the number one thing that get switched out the most is shoes. Some clothing, socks, different things like that get traded out. So gear is kind of up in the air on what it's going to be and what your budget's going to be, right? So why is it so expensive to all of a sudden be on the Appalachian Trail in 2026? Let's have that discussion, right? Because we have the numbers. We've done the work, right? We've done the work. We've put the work in from back when we originally done it, and went from there. The average that was spent on gear before stepping on the, yes, I was on Metro's platform next to him, so Kraz was there. So anything can happen with gear, right? So the average that was spent on gear before even stepping onto the trail was over $2,212 in 24. In 25, that number was closer to $3,000 on gear. The price of gear is going up. And the reason why gear is going up is because pack weight is coming down. Ultralighting and ultralight packing and lightweight packing is becoming more and more popular as the trail goes on, which causes the price to kind of go up. But that could be a good thing. That could be a good thing, right? Less weight means you move faster, which means less time on trail, which means less, whatever on your budget. The faster you can get off of trail and be done with the hike, the more money ultimately you're going to save. It's common sense, right? So, in 2025, we was looking, or 2024, there were some different things. We was looking, I'm sitting here looking at, was roughly 20 to 22 days. 20 to 22 days was the average, not 25, 24. 20 to 22 days was the average, got it wrote down, was the average number of zeros. Are you ready for 2025? Are you ready for this? 31. 31 days was the average. So at 31 days, that's a month. That's an entire month of town expense, an entire month of eating in town, an entire month of staying at hostels. And like Chris just said, excessive town days drive cost up through the roof. So here's the top 3 reasons why I feel that walking the Appalachian Trail through hike is so expensive. Number 1, where we spend our money. You might want to write that down. According to research in my notes that I've done, one of the number 1 spots that thru hikers tend to shop at for resupplies because of convenience is, in fact, guess what? Convenience stores. Convenience stores has the highest markup on the Appalachian Trail. Hostels tend to have next to the lowest. Okay, next to the lowest. What we spend our money on and where we spend our money at really does matter. We need do Neros instead of zeros, get in and out. Chris is right. We're going to talk about that too. Where and what we spend our money. J3 Hike says agree. Bump and grind. Where we spend our money and what we spend our money on matters. If you do not believe me, when this video is over, go to YouTube in the search engine, type in 2026 Appalachian Trail thru hike food list or food. Look at the food the hikers are planning on bringing on trail. Most of them are the $14 and $15 rehydration meals. What isn't the $13, $14, $15 rehydration meals is the marked up protein bars and stuff, which I'm not saying is bad because they go a long way, but a lot of this stuff is name brand. It is up there. Comfort costs a lot. Y'all folks need to put that on a bumper sticker. Make Brock rich because he's that is the absolute honest truth. Instead of going to Walmart or to a Dollar General or to a grocery store and getting things that are a little cheaper that does the same as the camp meals, they would rather spend the money on the camp meals, making it kind of a thing. Okay? And I'm not putting nobody down for that. In the end, I ate mac and cheese from Walmart and peanut butter crackers. There you go. I'm not putting nobody down for that. I'm saying where you spend your money and what you spend your money on really does matter. So, I wanted to give a good example of something I'm talking about. Let's talk gear for a real quick second. This is not the most lightweight. It's not what you would call something that is the best looking. For those of you that do not know, this is my water bottle holder for my pack, and it has my cell phone on one thing. For what I paid for this, I paid way less for this. My phone and my water bottles on one side. I don't have the two pouches, and it's Ozark Trail gear from Walmart. It's not Gashmere, and it's not made especially just for a phone. It's not a mesh see-through from chicken feed, whatever it was, company that looks just like, it looks like the mesh bag that you put your laundry in that holds your water bottle for $50. It wasn't that. It's just Ozark Trail. It's cheap. It's pretty good made. It's kind of insulated. So different things. You can put that in there, pop it off your bag, put it in your foot box, and it might even save your water from getting cold. Frozen. I've been searching to see if sending your own supplies from home to trails more extended. So, good question. And that's something that I can look into because I have nothing but time on my hands here before too much. Hitchhiking saves money on shuttles. Just judge the driver before accepting the ride. Yeah, we ain't gonna have one of them movie moments. If you know, you know. So the number one way is watching what you're spending and what you're spending your money on. Because it's not just food, it's not just gear. A lot of hostels will let you still use their facilities in their hostels, but set up a tent versus staying indoors. Now, I know that kind of beats the narrative, and people's like, yeah, but I really wanted to sleep in bed, whatever. Listen, I'm going to a hostel for a shower. I'm going to a hostel for the chance to do laundry. I could give a flying rat's ass, excuse my language, if I get to sleep in a bunk bed. That's just the way it is. Sorry that we're breaking up. We got all kind of ice. Looks like that the what's going on here? Let's see. So, I don't know if anyone can hear at this point. And this is when we had a lot of people. What's going on? So, can anybody hear it now? Okay, cool. Fixed. We had that ice. We had that storm and everything. But what I was saying is, a lot of hostels will allow you... Everybody else says they got me now. She says, I don't hear anything. Everybody else says they got me. A lot of hostels will let you set up. A lot of hostels will let you set up. So if the voice drops in and out, just know it's probably internet connection due to all the ice and snow stuff we got here, okay? So a lot of people don't know that hostels, you could pay and you could set up a tent versus staying in the hostel. And it's a lot cheaper. And a lot of times these hostels will still let you use their laundry service. Okay. A lot of people will let you... I'm so confused. A lot of people will let you use the laundry service, take showers and all that stuff. So what I was saying is, I can give a flying rat's rear end if I get to sleep in a bunk bed or not. If I can wash my nasty rear, clean my clothes, sleep in a tent, what you spend your money on and how you spend it, is a lot of time in towns, there is in towns places you can set up your tents or have shelters that you can stay at that are in walking distance of every dang thing. I've never seen videos on that. I did not know about that till somebody on Facebook messaged me, and I started Googling, looking it up today, and I was like, holy cow. They're right. They're right. So, knowing what you spend your money on and how much money you spend and where you spend it at is a big reason why the trail costs so much. In town. Let's talk about the in town. Right? Some churches will let you stay. I've seen that, Sparky. Let's talk about the in-town cost. How to drive it down. Farm Girl, right? Only time an inside bed would be really good is cold temps and dangerous storms. I 100% agree. Let's talk about the in-town cost. Now, I'm a firm believer in what Fortune has said, which is we hike to the food. We eat what we can on trail, and we hike to the food. Because I'm going to be honest with you, there's a lot of stuff I'm not going to be able to eat on trail. Ramen noodles, as you folks know, is bleh. Ramen noodles is out. So I've got a list of stuff that I am going to be able to eat, and me and AT Walk and Talk was talking about this. Now I can change my tone of voice and how we're talking because it's not so much about numbers at this point. Me and AT was talking and going some different things. And some of the things that I'm going to be eating and some of the things I'm going to be taking is not what others are going to be taking and eating. Right? I'm going to be eating some Vienna sausages, some beanie weenies, some the little Chef Boyardee, heat them up like pastas and stuff like that. I know they weigh more because they got liquid, but you know what? I'm going to be eating them occasionally. Peanut butter tortillas is going to be my big thing. Probably some tuna and tortillas with some mayonnaise packets will become a big thing for me because I can eat tuna and stuff like that. I'm just not a very big, here we go again. It looks like it's stalling out on us again. As far as connection, let me see what's going on. At least it is on my end. Man, this is really bumping me tonight. It says connected secured. Let me refresh my page and see if it's going to do anything. So I don't know at this point if y'all can see nor if y'all can hear. Mine is offline completely as far as screen. So I don't know that you can see or hear completely or any at all. So we're going to try to reboot. Let me see what we got right here. And see what's going on. I'm telling you, tonight with the weather, the wind is like really rough for us right now. Really rough. So, once again, I can't see anybody's comments in chat or anything. So, I don't know if voice is working, if voice is not working, what the deal is and what's going on. So, what I'm going to try to do is do a reboot as we are talking with the assumption that this thing is still working, right? That this GoPro is still working. So, without being able to see, I can't see nobody's chat comments whatsoever right now. I'm talking blind here. We got to be able to get these day trips down because every time we come into town, if we're spending $150 to $200 every time we come in town, that's a tremendous amount. The things we should be looking at is showers and laundry resupply, right? Gear replacements if need be or whatever. So, I think when we come into town, the amount of times we come into town is another reason why the Appalachian Trail is so high. That's just my personal belief. I have a cousin who is a truck driver. I've shared this story before, and I'll share this analogy again while I'm waiting on everything. I have a cousin that is a truck driver, and he swears that you can't make no money being a truck driver, right? So in saying that, let me check so I can see it on my phone. In saying that, he don't sleep. While I'm waiting on everything. Oh, well, give me a second. I have a cousin that is a truck driver. YouTube is the best. You have it. Okay. So until then, I got it pulled up here on my phone. So yeah, I can see it. I have a cousin that is a truck driver, and he refuses to sleep in his truck. Every time he has to get his hours reset, time, whatever, he stays in hotels or Airbnbs or whatever he can. And then he'll sit around and he'll talk about how he can't make no money. On the flip side of that coin, one of my best friends in the whole world, he's a truck driver, him and his wife. The truck hardly ever stops. They're swapping constantly. So if you know what swapping means, they're swapping constantly. So by doing that, and the truck never stopping, and they're sleeping in their truck, the only time it stops is for load, unload, and fuel. And then I think the DOT mandatory makes them do a complete reset every so many hours or something like that. But other than that, that truck's rolling. Makes money. Makes enough money that he's able to go on cruises and all kind of stuff like that. So if you spent, I'll get your questions in just a second. So if you spent $2,212 on camping equipment and gear, why would you not stay in it? Why would you not stay in your gear? That's my question. If you're on a budget. Now, in saying that, there's some hostels I want to stay at very much so. I watched the walkthrough of the Green Dragon Hostel that what's his name did. What was his name again? I just now mentioned it a while ago. He done a walkthrough, the Marlowe Project. He done a walkthrough of the Green Dragon Hostel, and I was like, I just want to go there and stay tonight. I'm just going to drive down there. I'm going to stay right now. I'm just going to get me a room to stay there tonight. Because, I mean, it's just like a place that you'd want to stay. It's beautiful, the accommodations and what they do and how they treat you. And the hostels and the owners are phenomenal. There's been a couple hostels over the years I've seen people leave some negative comments on, but for the most part, the hostels are phenomenal. And I can't wait to experience the hostels, right? I cannot wait. I think it's going to be fantastic. But at the same time, I don't want to spend 31 days of my time that I could have spent on trail 31 days of my time that I could have spent out on trail, right, in hostels. Have you decided on whether or not you're taking a stove or not? I am taking a stove, but mostly for coffee and some boiling water. YouTube has been messing up the last few days. It's this big storm. Towns and ice cream machines that take carts. So, which brings me to the third reason I think the Appalachian Trail costs so much. We look at comfort and convenience. Can we agree? It's a very sad day when the ice cream machine's broken. That would be a sad day. Sad day indeed. Can we agree that, let's go back 5 years. Let's go back 10 years. The Appalachian Trail didn't cost us much to hike. Now, if you had this much to spend, cool. Go out, spend, have a great time. So, I've had to come up with a budget, and for the lack of betterness and better terms, I've had to try my best to say no to a lot of situations. AT will tell you that I've done that. There's other people I've talked to that will tell you that I've done that. I've told them, no, when we get there, I would like to experience that. It's not the budget. It's more important for me to finish the through hike than it is to sit in a hot tub. So that's where I'm at. So I wanted to share y'all where my budget is. On average, the Appalachian Trail at the lowest is at least around $1,000 to $1,200 a month. I'm hoping that by cutting my zeros to Neros and taking a lot more Neros, even some of the hostels I want to experience, be able to set up in tents and campsites and different things to make it cheaper, but taking less zeros, I've cut my days down from the 214 days or 217 days or how many on trail, and I'm getting an itinerary to put together because I wasn't originally going to do an itinerary. Y'all folks know me. Past the first day, I really don't care. Me and AT's talked about that. We're going to be stepping out March 10th, the same thing. If you meet others, hikers, it makes it hard to skip hostels, in my opinion. It would make it hard. At the end of the day, do I want to walk with groups? Do I want to walk with people? Do I want to be sociable? Yes. But at the same time, they can go stay at the hostel. I'll stay on the trail. We'll meet back up when you come off the hostel. You can tell me about the good time that you had. It's nothing personal. And it's not about being poor. It's not about being broke. It's nothing personal. It's about, I have a budget. I cannot go over that budget. And to go over that budget is catastrophic in some areas, in some ways. So I have to stay within it. So I'm looking at an itinerary, and I'm looking at trying to maybe, just maybe, finish the trail a month earlier than what I was expecting. So to save a little bit of money too, that expands my budget. It stretches it out just a little bit. So I want to take less zeros. In my opinion, there's no reason to take 30 zeros on the Appalachian Trail through hike. Even if I only walk 3 miles in a day and set up a tent, I've walked 3 miles. I know I haven't been there yet, and it's you live and you learn and go by experience, and I'm not trying to be that guy before I even get on trail. Everybody's like, yeah, we're going to see this guy. He's a loudmouth. We're going to see what his numbers Mr. Analyst does now. I'm not trying to be that guy. But what I'm trying to say is, this is my budget. I'm doing this on $800 a month. My gear is covered. I have a place to sleep. I have a place to stay warm. I have the stuff to go for. That is what I have. That's why I purchased my gear. Those creature comforts seem important for mental health also. They do. But for some of us, silencing the noise and getting away from that is more important. Right? So, there's going to be times and there's going to be hostels I want to stay at. I want to stay above the clouds. Green Dragon Hostel. There's a place I want to stay. Work for stays. Different things like that. If there's things I can do in towns to go from, most of the hikes that I've seen multiple years because they were injured or sick or had no choice. A lot of times, yes. I would agree with that comment. Weather's going to happen. It's going to be cold. Now when it gets down in the teens like it is now, no. When we get severe thunderstorms, tornado warnings, you don't want to be in the woods with tornadoes. No. Hurricanes, no. Extreme heat, maybe hike at night. You know, depending, humidity, that type of thing. If it's safe to do so and you're in the area, it's safe to do so. Don't know, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. We're in West Virginia, right? We're in West by God. It gets humid as all hell out here, right? I mean, it could be like, humid. It's like breathing water. So we kind of got that going for me as far as the humidity thing, right? Hostel stays to a minimum though. There's gonna be some when we first start out that's been covered, so we're gonna hit some of the ones that we've been wanting to hit and wanting to do, and then we're gonna pack on the miles. Coming out of Tennessee, it's go time. Right, coming out of Tennessee, it's go time. Into Virginia, and I know Virginia's people think that it's easier. It's not, but it's go time. I had 2 unexpected zeros for weather, a string of 4 for a funeral and 4 for trail days, 10 in total. There you go, 10 days. That's doable for me. That's very doable. 15's even doable. I may have a funeral I have to attend this year as well. I'm expecting some zeros for weather myself. You know, and I want to do trail days, but I really do, so I'll probably do something there. But we'll just see. We just got to see where the budget's at for that, right? For trail days. But I really do want to do trail days. And I want to come into town as little as possible. So I want to keep my food between 70. I want to keep my food at about $140 a week. I want to stay at hostels at a minimum. And I want to come in town as little as possible. Sleep at trailheads, go into town in the AM and back on trail PM. How I save money, and now when I hike, give me all day in town. I just do no trail miles. There you go. That's an idea. And then you got the Noro plague. Yeah, you got to avoid the norovirus. That can happen. Ticks. Things can happen. Blisters. Different things can happen to take you off and have to put you in town, put you in hostels for extended stays or whatever. Doing my best to avoid those things. We have finalized on gear. We have our pack down to about 16, 17 pounds before, and it's more 17 pounds right before food and water. I'm trying to get it down to 15. If I can scrounge it up, I'm going to buy a bear bag for a bear hang versus taking the bear vault. So that's going to help out a lot, but that's $60 that I no longer have in a gear budget. My gear budget is in the I am busted and beyond broke on the gear budget, right? So doing some things this next week to try to get the bear bag, right? And we're looking at a large from the company where you get your own image put on it, type of deal, type of thing, whatever. And I don't care if I have my own image on or not. I just need a large bear bag versus the bear can. That's going to save me a lot of space and a little bit of weight, roughly a couple pounds. But if I can't, I'll take the bear can. But the budget is what it is. Inflation and increase in what it was from 2024 to 2026, and go from there. Shovel driveways for money, Jim. Well, I thought about starting an OnlyFans and doing a feet show with disco and lights and doing my toes and painting them up and letting them do that. No, I ain't shoveling no driveways. I'll do DoorDash first, right? DoorDash, Instacart, that's my thing. And I'm headed back to the barbershop tomorrow, so who knows what's going to happen at the barbershop, right? My daughter had to go back on her own, so I'll be going down and helping her out a little bit too. So that's the budget. That's the budget. We're looking at $800 on the high end a month is what we have. And as we go into towns and different things, I plan on, like you said, doing work for stays, trying to find odd jobs on my 0 days I could do. Maybe somebody needs something done or something, or maybe, I don't know, we'll see. And being a barber, maybe I'll drop some weight and take some clippers and stuff with me on trail, being I'm a barber, you know what I mean? And do some haircuts on trail. Who knows? That was recommended by the AOC in Damascus. They was like, take you a barber kit. You're a barber. People need haircuts. And I'm like, yeah, but how you doing sanitary-wise and still be safe, you know? So we got to think about things like, and that's more stuff you got to charge, and it's just like, oh my God. So in saying that, I don't know. So we'll figure it out. We're going to figure it out. For right now, because my gear's covered and the way things are done, I honestly feel that I could do my food cheaper than $140 a week. I honestly feel that I can do it cheaper than $140 a week. And if I can do it cheaper than $140 a week, and I can save up by the end of the month, I'll have enough moving forward that other things would be covered. Getting past the first month, I think, is going to be detrimental for our through hike, right? I can't say for everybody else's, but for our through hike. And go for Sparky's like, great idea, right? So, like I said, there's some things, and I can do haircuts with just shears and combs. I don't need clippers and all that stuff. I can do a pretty decent finger length cut with just my shears and some combs, and bring some Barbicide packets to throw inside and clean stuff as we go, and stuff like that. So I mean, go from there. Book some haircuts, and then go to Walmart, get some stuff, use it, throw it away. Next town, go to Walmart, get some stuff, and it's be an endless cycle, right? But in saying that, we're looking at doing a couple things, right? And so I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Budget wise, like I said, I think I'm gonna be just fine. Where we're at, I've got not only some support system here, I have a great support system out there on YouTube with you folks. You folks have been so generous. We have started getting things geared up. We're doing the Dear Jackie series over on buymeacoffee.com/take a hike with Jim. Is the Buy Me a Coffee, or is the Take a Hike with Jim page on Buy Me a Coffee is the Dear Jackie series. There we go. It's going to be the letters and the journals, the entries that I write to my sister, and the pictures and the thoughts that I would write to my late sister, and having conversations with her while out on trail. We have our merch over there as well. And plus they have it set up where you can make a one-time donation or a continuous monthly donation and go from there. So where I've already got like the $800 covered in my budget for the month, I'm only like a couple $100 off at most if need be. So we'll do some things. We'll do what we got to do. We'll cut some hair. We'll pick up some pop cans. We'll sweep some porches. We'll do what we got to do. We'll do an OnlyFans with our feet and the dancing and all that stuff with our toes, or whatever we got to do. We're going to make it work. We're going to make it work. That's the point. That's what I'm getting at. There's ways to do it. 13 people in 2025 walked the entire through hike on less than $1,000. How's that possible? If 13 people can do it, I would like to talk to one of those 13. I'd like to find out who in the heck that was. Finding out who it was would probably be an impossibility. But if you could find out who it was and sitting down, talking to them and picking their brain. So, another way to save money when you're out on trail is the hiker boxes, right? Been told that there's always extra food, there's gear, there's different things in there. We're going to be saving money because we're not going to need a whole lot of fuel. We're not going to be doing a lot of cooking. A lot of the stuff that we got is going to be a lot of cold soaking and going burn. I'm not doing ramen noodles. Jason, stop it. You've been watching too much Laura. You've been watching too much Lady L. We're not doing it. How many days they hike? That's what I'm saying. How many days did they hike? I don't know. It says they've done the through hike, but I don't know how many days they've done it. And they said they've done it on less than 1,000. Now, in saying it, a couple might have been the ones that was the record breakers for record time or whatever. I ain't trying to be one of those guys, right? So, but there was 13. That's rough for the amount of money. Is it or isn't it? Because I don't know which one of you was on here, but one of you was talking. I forget which one of you was as far as my subscribers that was on chat. Don't you start with the ramen. But that was on her saying that there was one guy that claimed that he walked the PCT and part of the AT on like $500 food budget because of hiker boxes. So, it is what it is. But nah, ramen, man, I'm going to have to be pretty dang desperate because dang it, man. That's like gag me. Gag me. And maybe Randy's like, Chase. Randy Chase like, ramen. Check out Quadzilla. He did it on a crazy low budget. Let me write that down. actually. QUAD. AT hike. Low budget. So there we go. Yeah, so like I said, and it's not about asking for handouts. I don't come on here asking for handouts or asking things for handouts from people, because that's not what I'm about. I knew what I was getting into when I decided to walk the Appalachian Trail through hike. I just know that it's going to take a lot of discipline to say, no. I'm also going to be reaching out to a couple of martial arts schools up the trail that's in towns and different things, because I mentioned the guy, Chase Life, I mentioned the guy I met at Baxter, hiked at Pinoti, Benton, McKay, and the AT for 500. There you go. That's what I was talking about, that person. I got the trails wrong. Sorry, Chase. But I remembered the $500, by God. But anyway, in saying that, I will be talking to some of the martial arts schools. I know there's a couple coming up through next to Damascus and Appalachian and stuff like that I'm real good friends with. And see if I take a zero there, that I come in and do a seminar and do some teaching those days. I am a 4th degree black belt. And different things like that. And so I'm going to put some stuff out like that. So it's not like, I'm not on here asking for handouts. I'm not on here constantly, whatever. You guys know I don't like even talking about the donations and the merch that much anymore. It's why I just don't take a buymeacoffee.com and let them handle it, because Buy Me a Coffee is the easiest way for me to just do that, right? I hiked with a guy that foraged mushrooms every day. That would be scary. That'd be like wicked scary for me. Because, like, I know chicken of the woods mushroom, and that's about it. So the rest of them I'd be afraid to eat. I would have to, like, really, really know them in order to trust that. Because mushrooms can seriously put a hurting on you. Like, now. Like, right quick. So, I don't know if y'all was surprised or not. I think the AT through cost, like I said, if this trend continues of an upscale trend, if it continues to trend northwards, which I feel that it will, eventually the common person is not shroom. The common person is not going to be able to afford to walk the Appalachian Trail, at least not as a through hike. Section hike maybe. And that's something else I looked at doing. I even looked at doing a leapfrog, right? I even looked at bringing my vehicle down, parking at places, walking to my vehicle, getting a shuttle to get to my start point. That way I have my vehicle. We don't got to stay in hostels. I can go to truck stops, wherever I got to do, shower, do laundry in local laundromats, get my resupply, sleep in my car, catch a shuttle, go back, start, walk up. I've even started looking at the possibility of leapfrogging as well, as a way to try to overall save money. Because on my 0 days that I take, I can Instacart, I can DoorDash after my laundry's done, and while I got the rest of the day, instead of like resting up, and try to make some extra money to throw toward the budget, and go for it. So leapfrogs work better with 2 hikers. I would agree with that. I'm fat enough to be 3, so does that count? It does. It works better with 2 hikers. Unfortunately, I have myself. I've talked to a couple people that perhaps maybe I could arrange something, like when I come into different towns and everything. I have a good friend that's in Appalachian, which is right outside of Damascus. I can long-term park there. Of course, you got long-term parking at Amicalola, Harper's Ferry, and then I think long-term parking at a few other places. And then there's some hostels that offer like long-term parking and different things like that. But it starts to become costly is when you're shuttling back to the start point and walking ahead. That's when it becomes costly, for me anyway. So I don't know. The leapfrog idea is probably not going to be something I do at all. It's something I just thought about. It kind of entered my head today. I'm thinking of every possible way I can to pinch a penny. So, and not because I necessarily need to, but because I've set myself a budget and I want to see if it's doable on that budget. And I think it's going to be. Other than if we hit a butt ton of cold weather, which we've had so far in January and looks like headed into February. So me and AT, we step out March the 10th in Amicalola Falls. For those of you who didn't know, you got to tip the shuttle people, and I'm a good tipper compared to others. Yeah, you got to tip where you can. I try to tip. It may only be $1 or $2, but it is what it is. Every penny counts, right? Dollars make pennies is what my sister used to say. Or pennies make dollars, my sister used to say. Me and AT, we talked the other day and everything. We're stepping out in Amicalola on March the 10th. Looking forward to that. And he's going to do, I think, about the first 13, 14 days or so, 12, something like that. First 100, 120 miles like that is what we're planning on. We're going to get something together and get a game plan, but I'm looking forward to that time with AT, on the AT, actually, and everything down there. And it getting a little bit antsy. Right? Getting a little bit nervous. I reached out to one of the subscribers that was like, hey, you get nervous? Because I know they're stepping out March 16th. I was like, you getting nervous yet? I didn't hear nothing back yet. So we'll go from there. So anyway, that's what I have for tonight. Friday, we got a jam-packed show because we have 2 weeks of viewer, subscriber appreciation, things to read for you, and general discussion to talk about on Friday, because last Friday we went through the gear and the gear bag and the different things like that. We did sleep the other night out. It was 12 degrees. We camped at 12 degrees. Our gear done decent. We had to switch out to the Nemo extreme conditions. I think I already told y'all that from the Thermaloft, but hey, it is what it is. If I can't keep at least 20, I won't use the service. The service is bad, I go down. But I have to be at least 20%. I feel like a double butt. Hey, listen, if I can tip 20%, I'll tip 20%. But if all I got's $1 in my pocket, it's just what I have on me. I mean, I'm a tipper too. I'm a big tipper. Being a barber, I'm all about tipping. I'm all about tipping. I agree with you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in this week. Thank you so much for everything. Like I said, I know it was short and lanky and everything tonight. We went over the Appalachian Trail 3 book. I wanted to go over the budget with you. The budget books will continue to adapt and continue to change in the next 40 days as we get closer. It's going to be very interesting. I keep receipts and go from there. Is my wife hiking some with me? No. No. And I'll just kind of leave it at that, but no. But anyway, in saying that, it's going to be interesting as I keep receipts to see, Jason, I will drive in a snowstorm to I'll drive a storm to get you a shuttle. There you go. Ah, that's funny. But anyway, so I'm going to keep receipts the whole way of everything that I do and everything. So when we get back, we go through the budget. We can look about what we thought it was and where we actually hit. Was it over what we had analyzed? Was it right on? Or what was it as far as that goes? I haven't seen Wolfie post any good videos since he's been back out on trail. He posted one the other day at the Green Dragon Hostel. There was no sound or anything to it. So if anybody has any kind of communication with Wolfie, tell him that West by God, we're sitting here, we're praying for him, we're hoping everything's going okay and everything's fine, and everything, and go from there. Don't forget to watch your favorite thru hiker and support your favorite thru hiker the best you can, and go for our drive shuttles in Pearsburg area. Cool. Let's look at let's give some shout out. I ain't seen nothing from Tent Life Crisis for a little bit. The lovely Lady L just put out her 4th video and some different things and shorts. Interestingly, Brock drove me in Pearsburg. Cool. So Chase and Brock know each other. Cool. That's weird, but cool. I guess it's really weird. I guess, I mean, if you're a driver on 18, he's a hiker on 18, you're going to eventually maybe meet up. So there you go. But the lovely Lady L. Now, Chase has got some good videos out. Been watching some of Chase's videos here lately, right? And different things. Let's see. Lady L's got a video out on her fourth shakedown hike. Hiking on a Prayer's got her food video out. There's another lady out there that started watching. I can't remember her name. She's got her food video. She's got her tent thing out there. And go from there as well. Yeah, I'm just going through what we have. So if Brock, I live in the county. You folks are right there. Jason's like, well, I'm not through hiking, but if I ever catch a ride with you for some reason, you'll get a good tip for sure. Jason, okay, before we jump off here, just let me say this. Jason has caught the bug. He just don't know that he's infected yet, right? He's like the guy on The Walking Dead that gets bit by the zombie but don't want to admit that he's been bit by the zombie, and he's going to be the guy that don't turn into the zombie because he really don't want his head bashed in by Negan. Yeah, Jason's that guy, because Jason was just a regular hiker, and then Jason decided to start getting camping equipment. So now Jason's got camping equipment. So it's just a matter of time before Jason becomes a thru hiker too. It's just a work thing right now, but we're going to figure that out for him. But anyway, all right, folks, thank you so much. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much. I have the greatest support system on YouTube, and I appreciate you. I will see y'all Friday night, 7 o'clock. If you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button, that little bell notification. Give us a thumbs up. We appreciate it, and go from there. And, well, you've done a good sell. You sold your RV, and now you can poop in the woods like the rest of us and go from there. No, your job's awesome. You can keep your job, but we're just going to find a way for you to be able to do your job on a thru hike. I don't like ramen. Dang it, Sparky. All right.